Hi everyone, I'm Karishma Machanda. I'm the founder and instructor at Inner Freedom, the school for re-engineering your consciousness. Now today I really wish to talk to you about the guidance that I've been getting as an energy update of what's really going on across the globe. And during my understanding about the subject, I thought of making a video to share my energy updates with you. Because of this corona scare, which is happening across the globe, irrespective of whichever place that you are operating from, there is a lot of understanding about the possibilities of what may happen in future. There is a lot of fear which those uncertainties are creating between the minds and the understanding of what may potentially happen across the nations too. So it's not only between the individuals anymore, it has become an epidemic across the globe, which is affecting collective consciousness of human existence. Now, when we talk about consciousness, understand that it is not only you and I and everything which is living, which we perceive to be living, goes through its own cycle of learning and growth and therefore moving towards the next level of their evolution. Aspects of our existence which may operate through planets such as Earth itself also goes through its own rejuvenation cycle. And when we talk about planets, because they are existing over a longer duration of time, for example, your age or my age or human age as a collective may be about, let's say, 100 years on an average. The average life of a planet may be in millions and billions of years. And just as we go through one particular experience of our own existence, and then from those experiences we become more aware of our own wisdom, we learn through those experiences, and then those experiences become a part of our growth journey. Once we've learned those lessons, then we move on to the next level. We attract different experiences so that we can then grow through those experiences as a part of our spiritual journey. Similarly, on a similar guideline, on a similar pattern, planets also go through their own growth cycles. So about every 100 years the earth also moves from one phase to the other phase, and it goes through its own evolution cycle. There are themes that are coming up for the planet earth as well, which is a mother earth. And because of this particular aspect of coronavirus, which is affecting the entire globe, it has become a global agenda for the mother earth to also shed off what's no longer serving its own purpose and growth. And one of those important things definitely is fear. If you understand what fear is and how it operates, it's going to be easy for you to understand what I'm talking about as an energy update for this particular month. So, anything that operates through us, which makes us feel limited in our growth, in our potential, is essentially coming out of some or the other unhealed aspect of fear. Even in the current moment, though you may personally may not be affected by coronavirus, or somebody in your immediate family may not be affected by coronavirus, but the scare of coronavirus has been so vast across that everybody is following those guidelines, following all the means and measures to avoid and prevent the spread of coronavirus into their own existence. While this is essential so that the spread and the transmission from one person to other person is inhibited, it is important for us to understand when we are typically triggered by that fear. Fear of not being able to do certain things, a fear of what if it may happen, which is completely a fear of uncertainty. So, uncertainty actually brings our consciousness out of a body and into a futuristic possibility. So, when that possibility is still futuristic, it is not yet in a present moment, but we are going into that future moment to understand what is really what may possibly happen to us. We are typically going through in that particular moment with an emotion of fear, and because we're stepping into a future possibility out of an emotion of fear, we are actually triggering the process of fear more into our existence. And what if that particular aspect of fear is something which is coming out of our own deeper innate wounds which were left unhealed? Many of us are going through our own challenges of how will the world be surviving, how will I be surviving when I really have to step out each day to go to my office and get my daily bread. And all of similar fears are surfacing for many of us. What if this will happen? What if that will happen? How will that be coped up? So whenever we are moving into something which is futuristic, we are getting out of our own experience, which is unhealed within ourselves, and taking that fear into that future, giving rise to another possibility of a fear. So while the earth is also shedding all that is not serving it, and it's moving to a different level of its own growth, there's a stretch of existence which is happening into two different forms. One is the consciousness which is based out of fear, which many of us are a part of, and there's another consciousness which is trying to bring the entire aspect of fear out, so as to be resolved. So there are a lot of healers, there are a lot of light workers, and there are a lot of people who are beings of light are currently moving and understanding that what will possibly happen, because we've got to balance out both the aspects. Otherwise we may lose the battle of giving up into the fear aspect completely. And when the collective consciousness, which is already so much into fear, experiencing fear in some shape or form, some of it is coming up from our own unhealed childhoods, some of it is coming from our past lives, which we often understand how our past lives are linked to the current life experiences through Akashic records and healing. So all of these aspects are typically unhealed aspects of our own existence. And when we give in to these kind of fears, the possibility of the uncertainty to happen in the worst possible scenario, for example, giving up on a job, picking up a disease or an illness, what will happen if something happens to me? How will my children be taken care of? There are a lot of mothers who are in touch with me who are saying that, I've got cough. Now, because I've got cough, what will happen? So understand, cough may not always be coronavirus, but your mind is going into that extreme. What if this is coronavirus? And what if I'm being affected? The mortality rate of coronavirus is not 100%, but we think that it is 100%. So even if you got minor flu or cough, we're assuming it to be coronavirus. We're assuming it that, I'm going to die in 14 days' time. No, do not give in to that fear of death because the coronavirus is spreading across. Rather, this is the time when you are in between the Janta curfew, when work from home is being installed in most of the organizations. It is important for us to understand what that unhealed aspect is, which in you in particular is bringing up that uncertainty, is bringing up that panic, is bringing up that fear. What is in you which has remained unhealed? And be more mindful, be more present with that fear. I'll tell you a little exercise that you can do at your own house, in your own place, whenever you find time. So, whenever you feel triggered by any kind of fear, such as what we're experiencing right now, whether it's loss of job, market crash, it is about the fear of money losing out, not being able to have enough supplies because the deliveries of online deliveries have been cancelled out. So, whatever your fears may be, sit calmly into your room. Be extremely, extremely present with yourself. Close your eyes with few gentle breaths, deep in, deep out, and ask yourself. Don't go into the future. Ask yourself, the fear that I am experiencing right now, where is it coming from? Is it my own fear that I have experienced in the past, whether it was a childhood fear or something else? Do that inner child work. So ask yourself more questions. Ask yourself, where was the first time that I experienced a fear like this? Go into that memory lane. Understand where that fear is coming from. If that was a fear of not having enough money or enough food, understand that all of those fears are actually coming up from unhealed aspect of your own childhood. And if at all there be uh, no answer, that your life had always been very, very wonderful, and you've always been blessed enough never to have that kind of experience in the current life where that fear might be triggering, ask yourself, was there any time in the past lives that I had gone through this kind of a fear? What was there in that past life because of which I'm experiencing the current moment of fear within myself? And get those answers to address those issues by being more present with the fear in the current moment. And when you have those answers, why that fear, why that panic, why that anxiety is being triggered out for you, understand also in that mindful stage where your eyes are closed and you're completely in touch with your own feelings, your own emotions, your own body. Understand and evaluate what is that fear that is really going on. Generally, fears such as these are typically the fears of your root chakra being imbalanced. So, come in alignment with your own self. Do some Om chanting or any kind of mantra that appeals to you, that resonates with you. Do meditations. Align your chakras. Do white light meditation. And once you've done that, you've come into that alignment. Ask yourself, what else maybe that this particular situation is trying to build around to bring to my awareness. Where do I feel that I'm not safe and secure in the current moment of life? Those are the areas of your own life, your own relationships that needs more to be healed. And once you've been able to imbibe the wisdom that the entire situation is trying to build to you, allow the white light to fall onto you in your meditative state, and allow the shower of white light to completely rinse off all the fear that you have, whether it's about coronavirus, the disease that you might get infected with, it's about loss of job, it's about insecurity, any other form of insecurity that might be triggered. I was in touch with one of my students. We were having a conversation yesterday, and she said, I don't know what I will be doing when I have so much of time to sit by myself. That's also fear. When you're not able to sit with yourself during such times in your home with yourself, all by your own means, no television, no social media. That's the time that you have to go inward, to understand what's happening with your own being, to tap into your emotional state, to tap into your mental state. And from that aspect, you can heal yourself. But this kind of a fear that this student of mine was talking about is more about a fear to really face oneself. Whenever we've gone through any kind of difficult situation in our life, we've got disintegrated. And this is the time to become whole and complete rather than giving into the fear of what's happening in social media. Rather, I completely urge everybody who is watching this particular video to limit their exposure to social media, which has negative feeds. Limit your exposure to televisions, which might be instilling more fear in you, and rather sit and do these kind of exercises which helps you to go inward, to understand who you really are. You're not human being having a physical experience on this planet right now going through a chaos of coronavirus. You are a spiritual being who's being coming to the planet earth for a purpose, and this experience that you're going through of coronavirus, the fear of coronavirus and every other aspect that you're going through, which this fear is bringing to your awareness, is only for a purpose. It's here with an agenda. So when you're able to understand what that agenda is, when you're able to learn your spiritual lessons for this particular experience, you're able to minimize the impact that you're contributing to the fear mentality of the planet earth as a collective consciousness. And as and when you do these kind of more exercises which are meditative and mindful in nature, you are moving from the darkness to the light, contributing to the entire energy of the mother earth. Allow and help the mother earth to step into higher vibrations, which is definitely not fear, which is definitely not panic, which is definitely not any kind of anger and frustration, but it is more coming from a compassionate state, a state of kindness, a state of acceptance, a state of growth and learning. So when you have this understanding that you are a soul having a human experience, or a spiritual being having a human experience, and then you're coming with a more mindful state, you're approaching the entire agenda with a more mindful state, you're able to also understand that you are actually in between the opportunity, in the middle of the opportunity, which can actually help you raise your vibrations to a very high level in this time. As the earth itself is going through a detox, it's important for us to also go through a detox so that we can also, along with the planetary energies, rinse all the fear that it is bringing to us. It is important for us to align ourselves with the energies of the earth so that we are contributing the light that we are bringing from the higher realms to our own existence, and through our own existence to the core of the earth. When we release energies and when we do the white light meditations, we are able to help the Mother Earth also increase in its own energies, therefore thereby affecting the collective consciousness at a larger scale. So I urge you all, we are doing a healing, which is a distant healing for the planet Earth at 6 p.m. today. So I will urge you all to just have a few minutes, sit with yourself at 6 o'clock, and contribute towards the global healing that we are doing at 6 p.m. today. Thank you.